What is up, bros and broettes? I'm Inkslasher, and welcome to the second ever episode of Black Ops 4 5 Things, the series where I try to teach you guys some new things about Black Ops 4, and in this episode we're also going to take some suggestions that you guys made in the comments of the previous video and test those out as well. Now, as far as the last episode of 5 Things, I uploaded it and it did pretty well, and I wasn't sure whether or not I was going to continue the series, but then Wildchild came around and told me to do more, so I had to listen, especially because he used all of those R's. So guys, if you do enjoy this type of video and want to see this series continue, the way to show me is simply hit that like button, and the more likes these video gets, the more likely I am to continue this series. So if you like what you see and enjoy the video, be sure to hit that like button, but without further ado, I'm not going to talk anymore. Let's get into it and learn 5 things you didn't know about Call of Duty Black Ops 4. So right away, before we hop into the brand new stuff, last week we talked about a bunch of things revolving around water in Call of Duty Black Ops 4. We tested some specialist ability, some score streaks, but there was a couple things I missed that you guys wanted me to test. So the first thing that you guys wanted me to try, specifically Pigeon on YouTube asked, what about the MOG Dragon Breath rounds? And what this is the MOG 12 has an operator mod that adds Dragon Breath rounds to the weapon. In other words, it'll deal damage and then slowly tick off a percentage of the player's health after and basically burn them. So you'd think that after a player got shot by this, if he was to hop in the water, the character would stop burning and it wouldn't do any more damage. Now, as it turns out, that is not what happens. Once you jump in the water, you keep on burning, and there's really nothing you can do about it. We also tried testing shooting the player that was already underwater, and once again, the Dragon Breath deals damage even if you are underwater. It does not put out the flame whatsoever. Now, quite honestly, this next one that we're going to look at may actually be a little bit of a glitch. I don't know, maybe they did it on purpose, but this one was sent in a comment by Exonoise, I think that's how you say your name on YouTube, and he said, did you know that the Cordite with belt-fed operator mod doesn't overheat in water? So first of all, the belt-fed operator mod for the Cordite makes it so that you do not have to reload the weapon, but the weapon can overheat if you hold down the trigger too long. However, if you do go in the water, the weapon does not overheat at all. In fact, it doesn't even start to heat up. So you can just hold down the trigger and fire as long as you want to, or at least until you run out of ammo. So whether or not this is on purpose, I'm not 100% sure, but we do know that this is 100% true. Now, the other thing that we talked about in last week's video was the Hellstorm and ways that you can actually counter it. So there was a bunch of questions sent in about that. The most asked question was, could Ajax's shield actually protect you from a Hellstorm missile? And there was 2 options. Number 1, the Hellstorm missile direct impacts your shield, and number 2, you hold the shield, mount it to the ground, and then the Hellstorm lands in front of you. So we tried both options, starting with directly landing it on the shield, and in that case you die, and even if you have the shield mounted on the ground aiming down sights with your weapon, you do not get to survive through a Hellstorm missile. The Hellstorm missile beats the Riot Shield every single time. Now, the next question that was asked specifically about the Hellstorm was sent in by Steven Cringer, and he said, if it's like Black Ops 3, then the trophy system should stop the Hellstorm. Haven't tried it myself, but I imagine it still works. And Steven's actually right, and I tested this myself on a previous video. So the way that it actually worked in Black Ops 3 is if you called in the Hellstorm missile and put it into cluster mode where it spread out a bunch of explosions, the trophy system would actually protect you. So we tried the exact same thing in Black Ops 4, starting off with using the trophy system and just having the Hellstorm direct impact you, drive it right into the trophy system, and that doesn't work. The trophy does not counter that. Then after that, we tried with going into cluster mode and exploding a bunch of explosions, and once again the trophy system did not protect us. So as it turns out, the Hellstorm is a little bit different in Black Ops 4 than it was in Black Ops 3. Now, the one other thing that we tried in the previous video was shooting down the Predator missile, and one of the ways we tried was using the rocket launcher to lock onto it. And as it turns out, the rocket launcher can lock on to the Predator missile, but it won't actually shoot it out of the air. So Tawan1984 asks, can you shoot down the Hellstorm plane? It's a good question. So the Hellstorm, when it's brought in, a plane flies in and then it drops the Hellstorm missile. So we tried locking on with the rocket launcher to the plane, and it actually can't be done. So in this game, you can lock on to the Hellstorm, but you can't lock on to the actual plane itself. So those are some of the things that you guys asked me in the previous video to test out, try out, and if you would like to ask some more questions for future videos like this, just let me know down in the comments what you would like to see me test. It could be specialist characters, it could be certain game modes, something on a specific map. Let me know what you want me to test down in the comments, and maybe you can get your comment featured on a future video. Now, as far as the rest of this video, I wanted to go ahead and test some new things. And one of the biggest questions I had to do with the highest score streak in the game, which is of course the gunship, aka an AC-130. And my big question behind it, what is the best way to actually take it down? So the first thing I actually tested out was using the rocket launcher. And as it turns out, what happens when you use a rocket launcher is your first rocket will trigger the gunship to release flares. After that, you can't target the gunship for about 5 seconds, and then after that, it will take a total of 4 more rockets to actually destroy the gunship. So in total, 5 rockets will destroy a gunship. So after this, the one thing that I remembered from Black Ops 3 is that the best way to take out score streaks was actually the Annihilator pistol. So what I wanted to do was take the Annihilator pistol and try to shoot down the gunship. So we tested this out a lot, and as it turns out, you can't even get a hit marker on the gunship with the Annihilator pistol. What actually happens is you shoot the pistol at the gunship and the bullet actually despawns from the game before it actually makes it to the gunship. In other words, the range on the Annihilator isn't good enough to actually hit the gunship. So after this, I was kind of down a little bit. I thought, you know what, the best way must just be with the rocket launcher, but I tested a bunch more things, and the one that we found works the best out of anything. In fact, it blows the rocket launcher out of the water, is actually the Tempest. So the thing with the Tempest is it actually has a lot of bullets. In fact, you can shoot this 14 times before it's actually gone. And as it turns out, it only takes between about 8 and 10 shots from the Tempest to eliminate a gunship. And that could be done pretty quickly because the Tempest actually has a pretty good fire rate. So the answer to the question, what is the best way to take out a gunship? It's actually Prophet's Tempest. So after I was done testing out the gunship, I had another big question, and it revolved around another one of the best score streaks in the game, which is the strike team. And the big question with this one is, if you shot down the helicopter that drops in the soldiers before the soldiers actually dropped in, did you kill the soldiers or did they just drop wherever the helicopter was? So once again, we started with the rocket launcher. And this pretty much proved to be futile. The helicopter comes in extremely fast, so it doesn't give you much time to actually kill the thing before the soldiers drop in. On top of that, it takes upwards of 4 rockets to kill this helicopter, so in other words, you just don't have enough time to shoot this thing down with rockets. So once again, we tried the same thing with the gunship, and we pulled out the Tempest. And once again, as it turns out, this helicopter can take way too many Tempest shots for you actually to be able to take this helicopter down before the soldiers drop in. As you can see here, it takes a million Tempest shots, so it's just not possible. And you can see in the video, even though I hit the helicopter like 10 times with the Tempest, it didn't even start smoking. So at this point, I pretty much thought all hope was lost, but then I remembered we haven't tried the Annihilator, because remember, the Annihilator pistol just couldn't hit the gunship because it was too far away. So we tried out the Annihilator, and lo and behold, the Annihilator can kill the helicopter. In 6 bullets of the Annihilator, it can take out the helicopter, and guess what? The whole strike team dies. Now, normally 2 soldiers spawn in the strike team, but when you blow up the helicopter, 3 soldiers actually fall out. And the reason for that is the pilot also falls out of the helicopter. So you can see here, there are 3 dead soldiers laying on the ground. So, is it possible to do? Yes, but you have to use every single bullet of your Annihilator pistol to do so. So, is it difficult to do? Yes, but it is possible. So guys, those are 5 things you probably didn't know about Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Let's be honest, it was a little more than 5, but I got a little carried away. So guys, if you enjoyed the video, feel free to let me know by hitting that like button. It really does help out the channel, and it shows me that you want to see more videos like this. On top of that, down in the comments below, let me know some things you'd like me to try in future episodes of this series. And on top of that, guys, if you enjoyed this video and want to stay up to date on all my videos, the best way to do so is make sure you hit that subscribe button and have notifications turned on. But guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, peace out.
We are reaching for the stars.